I can go to bed when the babies cry. I'm in my own head, I'm comfortable living a lie. Why would I change if I could stay the same? See me smiling on the outside. I can go to bed when the babies cry. I'm in my own head, I'm comfortable living a lie. Why would I change if I could stay the same? See me smiling on the outside. Down, 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 yeah, we all fall down. How many days does it take to let your worry fall? Down, 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 yeah, we all fall down. How many days does it take to let your worry fall? I can go to bed when the babies cry.
Welcome to the Friends of Dan Music Podcast. I'm Dan Miles. You've been listening to the music of Nicholas David. That was called Go to Bed. It can be found on his new With These Hands CD. Joining me on the Skype from St. Paul, Minnesota to discuss the new album and a couple other topics is Nicholas David. Welcome back.
Hey, Dan, what's happening? Thanks for having me, man.
Well, last time you were here, we spoke about your Say Goodbye EP and your appearance on NBC's The Voice. We covered both those topics very thoroughly, so and I invite anyone who missed that to go back and check out episode 65. Before we start talking about the new music, I want to mention you were here in Phoenix last week performing at the Musical Instrument Museum Concert Hall.
Yes.
As you know, I was at that show, and like the rest of the audience, I was impressed with you and your band, and everyone clearly had a great time. You played acoustic guitar now and then, but mostly you played the piano all night. Do you have any pre-show rituals you like to do before you come out on stage to get yourself in that performance state of mind?
To be honest with you, man, I just make sure I say a prayer to and just make sure I don't have to go to the bathroom and make sure I got, my coffee and water ready to go and I'm ready to hit it. Say a little prayers a band before we take the stage and, just remember how blessed we are to be sharing our gifts, and then we just hit the stage and do what we were born to do.
Right on. Well, do you ever get nervous anymore? Have you done it so much now you're just confident you can always deliver the feeling every time?
I mean, to be honest with you, Dan, every once in a while, nervousness creeps in, and sometimes in the weirdest places, but very, very, very minimal appearances of the nervousness.
Yeah, when you walked out, you're just like, all right, it's time to go to work. I mean, I didn't get the impression that, and really from the very first moment you started playing and singing, you just kind of had the audience where you wanted them. One of the more memorable songs from early in the set was called Villain, where you adopted a character and did a little acting. It was much different stylistically from anything I've heard you do. It's like there was a different guy on stage for that one, maybe Dick Cheney or somebody. So is the villain based on a particular person, or is it a composite of a type of person?
I love Disney movies. I have like every Disney movie that there is. And I started kind of working on a musical many, many years ago. And that was one of the tunes of The Bad Guys. And it just kind of found its way on the Sacred Play of Life album. And in certain theaters, especially when I have a grand piano in front of me, I'm like, oh, tonight's a good night for the villain, and he comes. It's a good way to kind of even, just kind of get out. It's just fun, man. Like you said, it's some kind of overcomes, and it's just fun to be playful like that, with some of the serious messages that we have, or the some of the more somber tunes. It's nice to kind of be playful too as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's very theatrical and it is very Disney. And I know that other people who commented on it who know the song have said that it belongs in some kind of Disney movie. But, the control you had on your voice on that, I mean, it was like if I had my eyes closed, I didn't know it was you up there. I might even thought it was a different guy.
Awesome, dude. Thank you.
So anyone who wants to check out the studio version of that song, it's like Nick said, it's on his 2008 The Sacred Play of Life album. So after playing a few songs alone, you brought out your three-piece band, bass player, drummer, and a guitar player. The first song they played on was the crowd-pleasing You're the First, the Last, My Everything by Barry White, a callback to your voice repertoire.
Yes,
you were known on that show for your interesting arranging ideas and all the musical twists and turns and flips you would apply to the material you covered. And the same was true with the show I saw. You did a version of Play That Funky Music that was completely different from how you did it with CeeLo Green on The Voice. And as I said last time you were here, your arrangement of Stand By Me in your blind audition caught my attention as much as your singing did. So do these arrangement ideas come to you while you're playing or at random times when you're not playing, or both?
Kind of, I think a little bit of both, to be honest with you, Dan. And they all just kind of, like some of those tunes, you know, we've been playing, like I think I said in the last interview in episode 65, Stand By Me, I was playing it like that before the show, you know, and then when I saw that Stand By Me was one of the songs on the catalog, I was like, oh, bonus, you know, like, yeah. And then with the Funky Music one, since we did play it on the show, like I kind of just compiled a list of all the tunes I did on the show, you know, and then took them to the rehearsal space with our band and like, let's maybe try it like this with a little bit of some hits in the beginning, you know, and then maybe we'll go into the Alan Toussaint tune, you know, and in the second chorus, or just finding ways to make it, you know, touch on what the people across the country came to know and love, but then also give them kind of a new presentation of it, so to speak.
Yeah, and from start to finish, the show was like that. I heard a lot of tunes I knew, and then I heard tunes I knew, but done in a different variation, and I heard tunes like The Villain that I hadn't heard before. So, yeah, it was nice. It wasn't just like you were recreating the voice, and it wasn't like you were in denial about the voice. You know, you acknowledged it, and that was what was so cool about it, because it was a callback to the voice, but it wasn't like a carbon copy. I mean, you also did your Fire medley. Right. Jerry Lee Lewis, Great Balls of Fire. Jimi Hendrix, Let Me Stand Next to Your Fire. Then you added in the Ohio Players Fire.
Oh, yes, now, dude. Yeah, I was like trying to think of like, what are some other fire tunes we can do? We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel. I was just, man, yeah, we'll probably add on that for the rest of our lives.
Come on, baby, light my fire.
Right. Oh, dude, that's a good one, Dan. That's
yeah. Yeah, worked that one in there. It was cool when you did the part we knew, and then you kept going into that. And the band was cooking; they were gelling well. And then your encore at the end of the night was Somewhere Over the Rainbow, which of course you also did on the voice. But you also did some non-voice covers like Bob Dylan's "Times They Are Changing," Curtis Mayfield's "People Get Ready."
Yeah, man.
But the show is mostly comprised of your original material. And, that venue is known for its great acoustics. I noticed you would back off the microphone every now and then. Was that to see how well your voice would carry without any amplification?
Honestly, I was just kind of letting the spirit take over, man. Like, there'd be some parts where it's like, I feel like when you take away that amplification, here's an example. We played a spot in New York City. Yeah, the Rockwood Music Hall. We were playing in the basement, and it's got a grand piano and, some mics. And for the acoustic part, we got off the stage and we sat at one of the tables that was open, and just sang to the people. So it was like we met them where they're at. Nobody in the audience has a microphone. Nobody in the audience has a light on them. So it was like kind of like a little bit of that, kind of a weaker version of that, so to speak. But I just kind of, yeah, man, I was just really feeling it. That place is so special, man. All those instruments in there, like all the history of music. Like we were talking about, one of the guys was walking us around the spot, and I'm like, man, they don't call them instruments for nothing. It's like these instruments are ways that us human beings, our human family, across the world, made these like raw, some of these instruments were made out of like cowhide and like cow bones or seashell guitars, up to like fancy synthesizers. It's like all these are instruments to try to express our expression, to try to convey what our spirit sounds like, the music of our soul, the universal language of music. So it's like, man, you could not help but feel moved in that place. The vibration stemming from the ground in that joint was unreal. So to play with that, it was such a, yeah, man, it was super open. So I just felt, yeah, sometimes those lines of stage and audience were really blurred.
Yeah, the first time I went to the Musical Instrument Museum, I had sort of the same impression you did. And yeah, there was a lot of, there was Steinways there and synthesizers and gigantic, ornate instruments. But the stuff I found the most touching was the little, goat farmer made, took a gourd and like it has maybe one string on it and has like, it looks very homemade. And the cool thing about that place is they give you headphones and you can hear all the instruments as you walk up to them. And so, yeah, some of that stuff. And I'll tell you what I found really the most touching was, I don't know how much of the place you saw, but there's a section, it's divided geographically. There's an Africa room, there's a European, the Russian instruments where these guys, like rock and roll was more or less banned, in the 50s and 60s, and they had these homemade organs and amps and guitars that they just took whatever they could to make these electric instruments so they could rock out. You could see the heart that went into them just creating, from an iron and a toaster and whatever they could to make their own electric guitars. They didn't know other way to get them. That really conveyed to me, the spirit and love of music. That was one of them. And they got John Lennon's piano that he wrote Imagine on, and they have a room, like a Hall of Heroes where they got like a Dick Dale exhibit, and it's an awesome, amazing, world-class place. Anybody who's thinking of taking a vacation somewhere, and you don't think of Phoenix in terms of this, think of other things, but it's a destination. I mean, it's worth coming to, traveling to the area just to see this place.
Man, yeah, it was unreal. One of our guitar player, Cheech, he was like, because we got to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he's like, man, some of these rooms are cooler than the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It matches that excitement, it's like matches that history. Is like, I remember even saw like dress, Ella Fitzgerald had a dress in there, man. High school, listened to so much of her bebop. Awesome joint.
Yeah, it could be a dress from Ella Fitzgerald, and they show you a video for wearing it. They have the last guitar Elvis Presley performed publicly.
Sweet.
Yeah, and they have like a little room where they restore instruments, and they have a room where you can go in and play a theremin or bang a giant gong or play a xylophone and, grab a guitar off the wall and play. So there's hands-on too. It's an amazing place. I've been there several times, but this is the first time I've seen something, I'm ashamed to say, the first time I've seen something in the concert venue. Usually I'll see like Steve Adelson, who's been on the show, he plays a Chapman stick, like, at 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock, just in the museum itself, he'll just give a demonstration and they'll set up chairs. And I've seen that kind of thing. But now I've seen you there. Yeah, I regret. Chick Corea, Bela Fleck, Herb Alpert, all these great players have been there recently. And I'm thinking, why did I not? Yeah, I could have got a babysitter. I could have. But anyway, you mentioned, getting back to your show, you mentioned on stage it was only the second gig ever for your bass player, Chris Larson.
Yeah, dude.
I talked to him after the show. I mentioned there was one moment where you started to play your song, Dylan Loves Duluth. And he and the other band members just kind of gave these wide-eyed look to each other's, and they just kind of slinked awkwardly off stage because apparently you'd skipped a song they were supposed to play on. Was that omission accidental or was that intentional on your part?
Super accidental. Like I said, man, that place I was getting taken up in the spirit of that place and letting it move me. And yeah, I was so excited. I looked over and I was like, "Oh, Bob Dylan Loves Duluth." I forgot that there was one, and I didn't see the one in between that. But the guys followed suit and picked it up. It was it was
obvious to the audience that something had happened because Chris and your guitar player looked at each other and kind of did that, grit your teeth kind of look. Oh, what do we do? Do we just stand here while Nick plays this? And then they just kind of set their instruments down and just kind of slink to the exit. It was funny, actually. Speaking of that song, you said your wife doesn't like it when you sing it in your Bob Dylan voice.
No, sir. No,
so after you finished it, I wanted to yell out because I was in the front row. You would have heard me. I wanted to yell out, "Now sing it like Dylan," But I'm not that guy. But you want to? Is it too early in the day, or you want to give us a taste of your Bob Dylan impersonation right now?
Let me see if I can get it here. It's like, some people are looking for magic. That might be
good enough, man. You even had keyboard accompaniment. It was more than I expected. So, I could hear in my head as you did the song. I've got a friend who did a song, and I told him it reminded me of Louis Armstrong. He said actually it was like a Randy Newman thing, and he sent me his original demo for the song, and he was doing it in his Randy Newman voice. And so I could picture you doing that song in the Bob Dylan voice, and I could also picture your wife getting irritated by that. Well, in addition to all the grooves and, the quieter, intimate moments, there was a lot of humor. I mean, one of the most memorable non-musical moments was the toll booth story. You want to maybe recount that for our listeners?
Yeah, we have a tradition in our band, man. We're blessed to take this music coast to coast, even, up and down, north and south. And as you know, there's toll booths across the country. So one way to pass the time is we like to kindly ask for a receipt, be it that it is a business. And then also, after gathering that receipt, we have to extend our love to the toll booth carrier. So that's a tradition we have kept strong across the country.
So you say, "Can I have a receipt, please?" And then when I give you the receipt, you say, "I love you."
Yeah, kindly ask for a receipt and then say "love you" on the way out.
And what kind of reactions do you get from? Because toll booth is not really a inspired kind of career. And a lot of those people are on the grumpy side.
Sometimes you get, I mean, I always check it out too. Like as we're driving off, like sometimes you get people smiling as they register that they were just given some love. Sometimes you get some people that don't like it, you know, like they're like, somebody just told me they love me and they kind of grimace. Other times people say, I love you back, but that's very few and far between.
Yeah, you never know. They might think you're mocking them, or you might think you're messing with them. And I'm saying certain people, a person in that situation is less likely to have a sense of humor because they're probably on autopilot. But frankly, it's really cool that you do that, because a lot of those people probably feel like people just treat them like they're automated. You know, it's just like,
right.
Here is the money, lift the gate, I will proceed now. You know, like they're just like a machine themselves.
Right. We just, man, and it's genuine. We just say, you know, we're like, love you, you know, and they smile, and some people smile. Some people say, love you back. Some people are like, what the heck was that? But
well, the added element was your drummer told a story, I guess, while you were getting a drink. You told him he needed to talk to the audience, and he came up with that. But the added element was apparently he had told this story to a different audience, and it hadn't got much of a reaction from him. So he was like trying to redeem himself. And our audience loved the story. It was hilarious.
Right. Yeah, Mike, man, sometimes he'll take it, and he's got a really horrible Chicago accent story as well. And like sometimes that'll go pretty well, or sometimes it'll bomb. It's great, man. It's one of my favorite parts of the night, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because if it does bomb, you can laugh about it later, or it can become an inside joke, and all you got to do is start count off another song, and you know.
Right. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, that still works.
Yeah, but acknowledging to the audience that sometimes it doesn't work makes it even funnier, really.
Right, dude.
So after you left here, you didn't go straight back to Minnesota. You went to Southern California. Did you go to Costa Mesa with it?
Yeah, dude, we went to Costa Mesa to play a leadership and awards dinner for a bunch of donors at the Segerstrom Center for the Arts.
Awesome.
Man, yeah, we shared the bill with Jackson Browne. It was unreal, dude. It was so cool. Again, just such a blessing to be able to play in these awesome places and with these people and folks. You know, the story of rock and roll, you know, it's unreal, man. Truly unreal.
Yeah, and I can see how a Jackson Browne audience would also warm up to you guys and your sound too.
Yeah, man, it was something. So he was playing inside of the Segerstrom Center, and then we were playing outside on a stage in the plaza. Yeah, it was so cool, and a beautiful night too. Like, man, Arizona was a little hot for me, man.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you, man, all of us in the audience were just kind of smiling when you were talking about it, because from our point of view, it hasn't even started. I mean, it's like, what was it, like 90 degrees or something when you were here?
It was 100. It was 100.
Okay, it was 100. 100 is a joke to us. It's like during the summer, it averages like 108 or 109 every day.
Oh, man.
And then when we get like a kind of a rough day, it could be like 112, 113. I think about 118 might have been the hottest since I've been here. So when someone goes, oh man, well, actually I have to say, when Pat Metheny played here a long time ago, I guess he likes to like go jogging or running or something. And the first thing he said to the audience when he came out, man, you got a different kind of heat out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're out running in it, I could see that. But plus, you wear a lot of layered clothing too, man. Right. Well, it's your image. But well, it's good, man. It's good that you had a good gig here. You had a good gig there. Chris mentioned something about going through San Diego. Did you go through there? Is that where you flew into?
No, I don't know. Chris, that was Chris's first time in California, so I think his geography
He told me that too. He said you guys were going to go to San Diego first and then Costa Mesa. And I told him, well, you should go check out Coronado. And I told him about the big bridge that goes over there and how the giant ships in the naval base have to go under it. And I was saying, he was like, it's too bad, because he was all excited about checking that out, and you guys didn't even go there.
Oh yeah, we weren't even anywhere close to San Diego.
Hilarious. Well, it was a great night. I hope you make it back out here again in the future.
Me too.
And as I said last time we spoke about your Say Goodbye EP, before we get to the new one, I want to point out that in the intervening gap between this time and last time, you put out another release, your Make Hope EP.
Yeah.
I played a track from that called Cool on a more general new release episode featuring several of our past guests. I want to play another track from it right now, actually, called Monsters Sleep. Sweet. What do you want to say about that song before we listen to it?
That tune was written basically as like I was listening to a lot of Dame Funk at the time, and that song just kind of came out, man. I was like, man, I need a R&B lullaby for my kids.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just kind of it. It's just an R&B lullaby for the children.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the keyboard sound on it reminds me of Lyle Mays. I just mentioned Pat Metheny. It's funny, and he comes up again, but so it kind of has a Pat Metheny feel to it a little bit. But yeah, a lot of your songs are family, kids, and especially kids. I've seen pictures of your kids. You have adorable kids.
Thank you, dude.
Yeah, so let's check this R&B lullaby out. This is from his 2014 Make Hope EP. Here's my guest, Nicholas David, with Monsters Sleep.
Come on.
Guarding you while you're sleeping, protecting you from the monsters when you close your eyes. Dream dreams can lose their sound. Who's to say which way's up, way's down? Who saved the nap you're pegging up political? It's all sacred ground. Return to what we know. We raise, we grow. Everybody's running out of steam. Return. Do you remember that you're beautiful and exactly where you need to be? We can color this place in a way you'd like, or we can go in together, or we can go alone. There's really no difference, 'cause I am still here. Return to what we know. We raise, we grow. Everybody's running out of steam. Return, return to what we know. We're red, we grow, yeah. Everybody running out of steam. Return.
Well, that's a great track. So your new one is called With These Hands. It features some pretty minimalist artwork, basically just a small blue hammer on a gray field. So what are the significance of the album title and the artwork?
Oh, dude, thank you. Yeah, so as you kind of said earlier, you know, man, since I was on the show, it was like a series of EPs were released. So we like had the Say Goodbye EP, the Monster Sleep EP, you know, and part of With These Hands was supposed to be on Monster Sleep, you know, it was just running across the country and working with different people. So it was like taking one suggestion, listening to this, listening to that. And before I knew it, I was like, man, I'm sitting on pretty much like a full-blown album here. Let's just get this out to the people, you know? And I made like 4 of those songs with Mark Murphy from Wookie Foot, a couple of them from Aaron Cosgrove, who worked with New Congress, and then his own music in Minnesota. I did, you know, a few of those songs were actually recorded out in Hollywood, you know, and then remixed by Rich Madsen up at Sparta Sound in Minnesota, who worked on some of my buddies' Trampled by Turtle records. So it was really kind of like a, you know, like where we were at around the country working with people, but then also kind of sticking true to our roots in Minnesota. And so the majority of those songs, I'm playing all the instruments on them. So it's called With These Hands, you know, and I thought with the many layers and textures on that disc. I thought it'd be really cool to have the artwork be really simple and minimal. And with these hands, you know, I thought the hammer was appropriate because it's like you can either build or destroy. You know, with these hands, you can either build or destroy. It's a choice.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, you see a hammer and you think, well, you and I think, get to work, build something, and another person might go, oh, I could hit a guy in the head with that. So it's just kind of shit. It never occurred to me that it had the dual purposes, because I would never use it for that. But yeah, that's an excellent point. People do productive and negative things with their hands. Well, yeah, in terms of the basic instrumentation on the album, it isn't that much different from what you've done in the past. There are sonic layers here and there, as we're going to hear, but there's also plenty of sparseness, so it certainly isn't overproduced.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah, and your lyrics are always interesting. You know, we started the show with the song "Go to Bed," which appears to be about, you know, mental contentment and blocking out the negative energy around you. What did you want to convey with that composition?
Again, man, it's a bunch of these tunes, especially the 4 that came with the working with Mark Murphy, which was like "Here So Far Away," "Go to Bed," "Moon at Noon," and I'm trying to think of what the other one was. It's slipping my tongue right now. But all those kind of came out really fast, you know, like I didn't really think about them much. I didn't really think what the meaning was. It was just like, I just heard these melodies, you know, and so then I sat down and put the pen to paper and, you know, it was there. And then the next thing I found myself in the studio recording it, you know, and the next step I was like listening to it being like, wow, what does that mean?
I wish I could work that way, man. I never do anything fast. I mean, I can have that moment of inspiration where I compose some music fast, but lyrically, I never go, oh, I've got a full set of lyrics. I'll record it and wonder what it means later. Oh, I agonize over lyrics. I'm self-abusive in that regard, probably. But I think a lot of people. Well, your "Say Goodbye" album had a country feel in spots that you hadn't really employed when you were on The Voice, and there's more of that on With These Hands. You've got one called "You Say" that has those country textures, and I like how you take it into a double time feel, just about a minute in. I actually want to play that one and let people hear it. What do you want to say about that song?
That one was written kind of in the beginning of, right before we went on the Avett Brothers tour. You know, you can just kind of hear the fastness in it of like hopping on planes, you know, and running here and running there, and a lot of people talking, you know what I mean? A lot of people talking, but some people deliver and some people not. But it was just, you know, I think it just kind of captures the emotion and the vibe of the time. You know, it was a lot of planes, a lot of people, a lot of words, you know, a lot of emotion. So that's kind of how I dealt with it.
Well, let's let the listeners hear it from his new With These Hands CD. Here's Nicholas David with "You Say."
Say you love me, but you break